welcome in to T2T After Dark, episode 11. This is a T2T podcast network production. Appreciate y'all tuning in. The band is back together finally. It feels like it's been a long time since the three of us have been on, so I'm excited for that. My name is Nate Wallen. You can find me on Twitter at Nate_Dirt19. I'm joined, as always, I can say that now because we're back together anyways, by the Frito Bandito himself. I believe joining us from a nice hotel somewhere down in Texas. Rich, what's up, buddy? Glad to see you're feeling better.
Well, I'm feeling a little bit better. If you guys see me go mute and go disappears because I'm over here hacking in the damn trash can or running the restroom, hacking it up in there and stuff like that. It still hits me pretty good, but hey, I'm here. I'm ready to roll.
That's what we like to hear. And you got to be feeling good after you win 2 games in a row.
Yeah, man.
The Packers haven't done that, so I don't know what that feels like.
It's good and stuff like that. It's like this week right here, though. It's like you build up these 2 wins that play against a tough team, and you really want to see how we truly do against a good team and everything. So this will be the week. I mean, I'm not expecting us to win and stuff like that. I just want to keep it within the spread.
Yeah, I can see that. Hopefully Pierce, they just keep running the ball. Jacobs needs like 30 touches to keep Tua and them off the field because that team's they're pretty good, and their defense has gotten a lot better.
I want Aiden just to go out and light it up, though, man. I just want to see
want Max Crosby to, a couple good hits on Tua.
I wouldn't mind that
because I want to see him get sacks. I'm not saying I want to see the guy get hurt. Come on,
yeah,
Abe.
That's what I need.
Also joined by Abe. You can find him on Twitter at MVinFF. What's cooking, pal?
Nothing, man. Hey, Rich, you're an absolute gamer, man, coming out here not feeling so good. So we appreciate you. It's good to have all 3 of us back. It's been forever. I know Nate was kind of caught up with work, and then I was out with uncomfortable shoulder thing. Then Rich was sick. So it's good to have all 3 of us back, man. It's good stuff.
Bunch of old guys always hurting and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what's funny about it is when you get sick at this age, man, it hits you so much harder. I felt like a true baby last week, man. I mean, when I was young, I used to be able to suck it up, but man, not anymore.
No, it sucks. You can find the show on Twitter at T2T Titles. You can also find all of our content, including our articles, mock drafts, player rankings, episodes, everything we do, including Rich's weekly rankings, Coach's Do's and Duds. I should say Rich and Jason's rankings. They will release tomorrow on the website. So check it out, T2TStyles.com.
Yes, sir.
And since you're watching this on YouTube, we hope that you are subscribed. But if you're not, hit the little subscribe button and the bell so you know when we go live. And if you would like to join our Gilded Chat, it's free. And there's a ton of stuff going on. NFL, fantasy football, college football, everything. I mean, heck, the last 2 weeks, I feel like we've been talking about Disney World and Universal Studios nonstop because I think Coach was there. I think Jason was there. So, like I said, we talk about everything, and it's free to join, but it's 99% football. So hit us up. We'll get you in there. We're also giving away a Yeti cooler. I believe last night was the last episode with the clue. There's a phrase you got to turn in. Anyways, join the Gilded Chat. Join our
YouTube.
What was that?
I think there's still one more week they're going to give.
Is it? I didn't know. Oh, yeah, I guess it would be. I am sorry. Yeah, one more week to get in that. So check that out. All the details are on our Twitter. You can figure out how to get in that. So that being said, some big news for the week. I didn't even realize I was working today down where I barely have service. I think when I got back up to the top of the hill, I had 12 text messages because I can't get texts where I was working. It's that awesome. And so I almost missed the Deshaun Watson being out for the season. I don't know what they're going to do. They're kind of fucked. I don't know. He actually looked good last week. He started out very poor. I think he was 1 for 6 his first 6 passes, and it was oh, here we go again. We don't even know what's going to happen because he hasn't looked very good. And then he finally kind of turned things around, and clearly they won. But what do you guys think that, I think they said that DTR, Donovan Thompson-Robinson, or Dorian Thompson-Robinson starting this weekend. Is that right?
Yeah, he'll be starting. What's funny about this past week on the game and everything is I remember seeing him leave early, right before the half, and I didn't think he was coming back. I actually was thinking he was done for the day and everything. And I was telling my son Keegan, I'm like, dude, I go, they pay him all that money and stuff like that, and the dude's just gonna keep on getting hurt. And then he came back and he freaking lit it up. Second half had the Browns come back and win the game and everything, and it was freaking pretty stellar and stuff like that. But then we hear what happened. He actually played the second half of the game with a broken I don't know what part was broken in his shoulder, but it was throwing shoulder. So as far as DTR, I mean, look, they got it. I mean, they had Josh Dobbs and they got rid of him because of how good DTR looked in the preseason. So I mean, you basically got to ride the horse and stuff like that, because that's what you put yourself in that situation. Yeah, I get they got PJ Walker, but might as well let him play and see how he does. That way, you're going to determine if you're going to keep him next year.
Yeah, Rob, I appreciate you thinking us in such high standards that we're that good of athletes.
Athletes. Yeah, that's us, definitely.
I think it's going to hurt. I do feel like that the Steelers are probably kicking themselves for not keeping Josh Dobbs, like a year and a half ago, because he would be much better than Pickett or Trubisky. Anyways, I don't know. It kind of stinks for the rest of the Cleveland offense because they actually played pretty well last week, but I think that the Steelers defense will eat them up. I'm hoping that they'll be able to run the football a little bit because they're such a good running team. And obviously their defense will – I don't know if anybody's going to score in the Steelers-Browns game. It'll be tough. Granted, the Steelers made Jordan Love look pretty good last week, but that was just a handful of throws. So, hey, what do you think? You think we're going to shut down all the Browns players now?
I mean – What a mess this is. Like, yeah. I mean, you go out and you go all in for Watson. I think he's guaranteed, like, I want to say, for some reason, I want to say like 64 or 65 million.
63 or like 63 and a half, 64. Yeah. Not this year, but the following 3 years.
Yeah. Like, just guaranteed money. And the dude he just seems like he just doesn't want to play, kind of like Michael Thomas from the Saints. Like, when things get tough until this week. And then all of a sudden this week, like Rich said, like, he came out and was balling in the second half. And then he came out today and said, I felt something kind of weird in my shoulder at halftime. Thought some things were in trouble. And then all of a sudden, like, it felt good. Like, I'm sure that was probably a shot at halftime. And then all of a sudden, here we are. Here we are all of a sudden now, he's done for the year and we're turning to DTR. So I mean, this Browns team, if you really think about it, so a lot of times, a lot of people in the preseason were predicting them to go to the playoffs. I just didn't see it. It was one of those things, and then watching them play this year, I'm like, holy shit, they're good. Like, their defense is awesome. They have a really good running game, losing Nick Chubb. Their running game is still really good. Their O-line's good. They got a lot of good tools, but, I mean, you're not getting 4 teams out of this division. And the way the Steelers are playing, they keep winning games, and obviously, Cincinnati lost, Baltimore lost last week, but those are the top 2 teams in the division. So I wonder if Cleveland's just kind of folding it in and saying, you know what, no matter who our quarterback is, we're probably not getting to the playoffs. So let's take a look at DTR and see what he's got. With that being said, I just don't think he's the answer. I mean, we're going to get to something here in a minute that I kind of wish would happen, but it's tough watching these guys because their defense has been playing awesome, and they're. I like points. I'm a fantasy guy, but their D's been pretty solid and fun to watch.
I think they're probably the best defense in the league. I don't know if people say it's Cowboys, and I like the Ravens. Last week I was all about the Ravens, and they get beat by the goddamn Browns. But like the Browns defense is for fucking real. I think against the Colts they were in man coverage like 78 or 79% of the time. Like if you're able to do that, that is fucking wild. Yeah. And they do it well. Their secondary covers very, very well. I said I think Kenny Pickett's in for a fucking rough go. And the running backs won't be able to run like they did against the Packers and average 5.7 fucking yards a carry when we know all they're going to do is run the fucking football. But Joe Barry won't fucking we're still going to run. We're going to be in nickel personnel on the fucking 4-yard line. First and goal. Let's get 6 guys in the box, kind of. Yeah, you're a fucking idiot. Sorry.
So real quick, Cleveland Browns 6-3, and they're packing it in already. Can you believe that?
I mean, I don't know if they are. It just seems like, it just seems like it just seems like to me that that's by showing that you're going to DTR, that's what it's doing.
Well,
I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's just like, okay, I mean, and obviously, if they're in the NFC, I think this would be a different story. But in the AFC, I mean, that conference is so loaded top to bottom that it's tough to get there. And if you do get there, I mean, it's tough to it's going to be really tough to win a game when you're starting with DTR or who's the other guy that I'm
PJ.
What's
PJ
that?
Walker.
PJ Walker.
Like it's, I think that they're just trying to. It's just a tryout at this point in time to see if DTR is an NFL quarterback or not.
Part of me wonders too. I feel like, when McDaniels got fired, like that game against the Bears when he started Brian Hoyer instead of Aiden O'Connell. And like I said, I think I heard somebody else say this, but it's like you kind of like we're just like, yeah, fuck it. Like I'm not giving the fans any hope. Like we're not giving it. Like so it's like you almost because part of you feels like Kevin Stefanski's kind of on the hot seat. Not necessarily his fault that everybody keeps getting hurt, but they want wins, so it doesn't really matter. But it's like if you just go to the old, and I'm not saying PJ Walker steady Eddie, but like you don't really try to like do something different. That they're like, well, that's I feel like when McDaniel started Brian Hoyer that week instead of O'Connell in Chicago, and they got their fucking ass kicked. It was like, yeah, this guy fucking stinks.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's the Cleveland Browns. They always find a way to stumble on themselves. I mean, so it's not a franchise that continues to grow and continues to get better. Ever since like when you think like they're kind of making that hump and trying to get over that next level, like what the Bengals have done since Burrow has been there. Like you start thinking that all of a sudden, then it's all, hey, we're 6-3, and now we're going to throw in this rookie quarterback that. Last time he went out, he threw 3 or 4 picks. Now, granted, he didn't have any prep time. He didn't know he was starting until 3 hours before kickoff.
I think it'd be a Colt McCoy.
So it's one of those
Wasn't
things.
he on the Browns before? He was drafted by the.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
one of the 97 quarterbacks drafted by him in the last 20 years.
I should have worn my Johnny Manziel jersey for him this week. So Macaroni Jones got benched for Bailey Zappi. Clearly Zappi wasn't the guy because he got cut this year by the Patriots. That New England's a mess. I almost is Will Grier going to start? They have a bye week.
No, he's starting.
No way. They fucking announced Will Grier.
That's what I was reading and heard earlier.
Fuck yeah, go Mountaineers, bud. I like that.
Yep. That's why I put it on there because I heard that earlier and I was like, I mean, man, it's crazy. It's just is it Jones or is it Belichick in the team? You don't think so?
No.
I don't know. I don't think it's one or the other.
That team just fucking bad.
I do think that Jones needs a different scenery. Like if I were him, I would just go and be like, hey, dude, you benched me fucking twice. Then you keep throwing me out there and starting me against these teams. Like, just cut me. Like, I mean, what the hell? I mean, just get rid of me. Like, if you want to, or if you want me to keep going out there and starting, and then, and I'm looking over my shoulder the whole entire time, am I going to get cut on the last fucking drive of the game? Which I think I'm not a fan of that. Like, if you're trying to prove a point, that's great. I just think it's bullshit. The kid, goes out, keeps his team within one score. Obviously, they're not scoring the ball. They're not doing that great, but what the hell are you doing pulling a kid with 2 minutes to go? Like, what? I mean. What does that do? I don't get it. I don't see it. I'm not a huge fan of it, but that's why I'm sitting here. And Belichick's one of the best coaches to ever play or ever do it. So I just don't get it. So
I think Mac, like I said, I don't. He's struggled. There were some throws that he missed that were really bad against the Colts, but like it's just like he's kind of like he's so shook right now. Like his eye level's down. He doesn't trust his line, doesn't trust his receivers. I don't think he trusts himself.
Those receivers are junk, dude.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
the team is
they've never been good. I mean, they're dog shit. Like everyone's like, oh well, he got
Devontae Parker.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, great, awesome. He couldn't even make it on the Dolphins when they were terrible. So, and then they're like, oh well, we got Juju Smith-Schuster. Great, he's terrible. I
Yeah, he
mean,
fucking stinks.
Gave up
I just don't get
Jacoby
it.
to get Juju. How about that crap?
I don't know what they're gonna do. That kind of moves me on the next point about Belichick being on the hot seat. I don't know how you have a guy that's won 6 Super Bowls and say he's on the hot seat when Brandon Staley's not on the hot seat. But we don't need to talk about that because I could fucking ramble about him for fucking an hour. But apparently Dan Orlovsky said that Belichick has his next destination already. Maybe he's coming to Green Bay, Abe.
Where would
Giants.
that be?
Nobody
Go
said.
New York. Go New York. Giants.
No, they're not going to fire Dayball. He just won Coach of the Year.
I'm telling you,
I mean,
mark my words. He used to be there, and I'm just saying, just
He's
kind
one
of
of the
keep that.
Raiders.
He'll be coaching New York Giants next year.
Yeah, but he's got to have a good eye and be like, "Hey, this team isn't any better than my team." I'm
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, like you got to look at that and be like, "Hey, I mean, it's just like, hey, I'm going to try this," and then all of a sudden, oh, I think I can go and turn this team around. I mean, that roster is terrible. I mean, just like his is, but I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say he's on the hot seat. I'm not a huge Bill Belichick guy. I think what him and Brady did was obviously the greatest thing in NFL history. I'm not disregarding that. I think what he did with Brady was unbelievable. I just tend to think his record without Brady's not that great. I mean, I think it's like 26 or 20 some games under 500. I mean, he's still in my opinion, a top coach of all time. But there's just because he had a great run with the greatest quarterback of all time doesn't mean that he shouldn't be on a hot seat when his team's not very good. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's hard to fire the guy though because of his resume. So
I just want all good coaches need a good quarterback. I mean, like Mike Tomlin, he's been getting by, but like they haven't been shit because their quarterback fucking stinks. You know what I mean? Like a guy that's like that good of a coach. I mean, I don't know. You can only squeeze so much juice out of an orange. I mean, if the fucking quarterback play stinks.
Well, isn't he the GM too, though? I mean, isn't he the guy that? I mean, doesn't he do personnel too? I mean, so maybe fire his ass for that. I mean, maybe not. If he's going to be the one that's picking the guys and deciding who's playing, and they got absolute crap running out there in the field. I mean, someone's got to be at fault. It's got to be him. I mean, he's the one that's heading both those charges. So I don't know. It's like I said, it's hard to be mad at the guy, or it's hard to point fingers at the guy when his resume is that damn good. But at some point, it's kind of weird to see, the Patriots kind of a laughing stock of the NFL. So
yeah. You got anything about it, Rich, or you want to move on? All right. Move on to our fantasy favorites for the week. I'll start off with quarterback. I'm going Lamar Jackson against the Bengals. He still had a good week last week. He's like 7-1 against the Bengals in his career. I think he scored like 12 touchdowns against them. His average is like 75 yards on the ground against the Bengals. So I like him this week. I know it's Thursday night because we don't usually pick a lot of Thursday night guys, but I look for him to have a good game. I think the Bengals are going to, they're both coming off of a big loss, a tough loss for both teams, short week. But the Bengals not having T. Higgins will hurt. Tyler Boyd missed a couple catches last week that you were like, oh, shit, you got to have those, man. And Jamar Chase, I don't know if he's healthy. He's playing through whatever it is.
Back
issue. So, and the Bengals still can't run the football. They're not going to be able to run the football against the Ravens anyways. It does hurt. I think so. T. Higgins is out and Sam Hubbard, I believe, is out, which will be tough for the Bengals defense. And then Ronnie Stanley is also out, left tackle for the Ravens, which we don't like to see. And then Marlon Humphrey is as well. But I think the Bengals will do fine, or the Ravens will be fine. I think Lamar will have another good game. Kind of like this is my division now.
Yeah.
Rich?
I got Mr. Tua Tagovailoa playing against my Las Vegas Raiders. Look, the Raiders defense has actually been pretty good against the pass with their pass rush and everything. Where they're getting eaten up is on the ground and the run game and everything. But look, the Miami Dolphins, they're coming off a bye week. They have time to plan. Tyreek knows his team very well and everything. I like to think that Tyreek is gonna want to have a big game within this division and everything, especially after a bad outing he had against Kansas City and everything. So I do like Tua to light it up. I don't see him, and let me try to word it in the right way and everything. Miami is going to do their thing as far as look. They got speed that's going to kill everybody, and that's one thing Raiders struggle with is speed. So he might not be going for like 28 passes and everything and stuff like that, but his attempts are going to be very efficient and down the field and everything. Where that's where you're going to see big chunks of yardage coming from Tua and everything. So just the fact that they have a week to kind of prepare for the Raiders and stuff. And look, I know the Raiders are riding on this high right now with 2 wins, a new coach and everything. Man, I see them just lighting it up and stuff. And I think Raiders are going to be able to keep up and everything, but it's just going to be a high scoring game to where Miami's Dolphins defense ain't the best either too. So I'm hoping Aiden O'Connell will come in and kind of get everybody involved and stuff like that. Should be a good fantasy output for a lot of players on this. But I do like Tua a lot in this game.
Yeah, it's hard not to. They look too good.
Yeah, and also, I mean, one thing about that too, obviously, like you said, Miami coming off of their bye week. I mean, both Tyreek and Waddle went in, kind of limped into the bye week. So we'll see those guys, both out on the field. It should be pretty much, full health. So, and we haven't seen that from both of those guys all season yet. So it's gonna be a good one. Hopefully, it's kind of a track meet. So I like that call a lot. My quarterback is Patty Mahomes against the Eagles. People say, hey, great, you're taking the best quarterback in the league. I get it. Patrick Mahomes has not been that great all season long for fantasy stats, things like that. The Eagles secondary is still banged up. The Eagles secondary has been getting beat up. So I think this is a pretty good run for Mahomes against the Eagles on Monday Night Football. All Mahomes has said the last 2 games after he's been getting interviewed after the games is, hey, our defense is keeping us in this. Our offense is going to turn around. I promise our offense is going to get it going. I look for this game to be pretty high scoring on Monday Night Football and to get up and down the field. And I think that Mahomes has one of his better games statistically of the year.
Yeah, I agree. Nino, what's up, dude? Miss you, pal. I think so. We'll talk about the little thing later, but I think you're right. That should be a shootout. I hope.
Yeah.
Running backs, I like Austin Eckler going against Avonized Packers. They can't stop the run worth a fuck. Jalen Warren ran for over 100 for the first time. I think both the Steelers average like 5.7, 5.8 a carry. I see, and the Chargers have struggled to run the ball. Eckler is obviously part of the passing game, so that's where he kind of makes his hay. But I think he will be able to do whatever he wants on Sunday in Green Bay. So he'll always have a light box to run against, and we can't really cover anyways. So, unless Jair plays, that'll help. But I look for Austin Eckler to have a pretty solid outing on Sunday.
Yeah, I like Austin Eckler against he hasn't really been really performing like what we expect for this season and stuff like that. But hopefully he has a better second half than he has the first half. Running back I like this week is running back from Detroit Lions. And a lot of people might be thinking that I'm going to pick Jamar Gibbs. But Montgomery is back. Both of them had stellar games last week. And
that Chargers run defense is fucking great.
Both of them are going to do good. But, man, Montgomery, I don't know if you guys saw that one run. I can't remember if we scored on it. But, man, he broke to the left. And he did a juke on the defense there, and man, oh my goodness, it was like Barry Sanders. Like, it was a freaking beautiful run. I like him to have another big game and everything, and be a little bit more a focal point. I know they're still going to be using Gibbs and stuff like that because they've seen what he can do now, and they got to get them both involved and everything. But look, Montgomery is used very heavily, but within the 20s. And what's surprisingly is the fact that Gibbs got that goal line score and everything. And I look for Montgomery to get some goal line touches this week. So I like Montgomery a lot this week against the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, obviously going up against his former team. And to your point, what you said, Rich, is really kind of crazy because you think about these two running backs and you think that Montgomery is going to be the goal line carrier. And it was kind of Gibbs, got him down there earlier and he scored. And then when Montgomery got down there, they got stuffed. So the next time they kind of went to Gibbs and he scored again. And then Montgomery to get in the box had to run for 75. But you don't really see Montgomery kind of making those moves. But he looked pretty fleet of foot and looked really good last week. So that 1-2 punch for the Lions, I mean, like Nate said, the Chargers' run defense is not good. The Chargers' run defense will probably look really good this week because Green Bay won't give their running backs the ball. But
we'll carry the ball 12 times.
Yeah, that won't. Why take advantage of something like that? So
AJ Dillon averaged like 7 yards a carry last week, and we just stopped giving him the ball.
We just never saw the ball again. Yeah. But that backfield is pretty fun to watch. So I like that call quite a bit there, Rich. My running back,
put in your head, you can't lose stats.
Yeah. My running back I like is kind of like, what Rich alluded to with Austin Eckler, kind of had a down season. My running back I'm going with is Tony Pollard. Pollard has been not good. I was about to say terrible, but he's been not good all season long. People are starting to I saw some stuff on a fantasy website today that people are dropping him in leagues. 10, 12-man leagues. I'm like, holy shit, where, how do I get in these leagues?
Yeah, no shit.
But, I think that's going way too far. I thought Tony Pollard would have had this big game last week. He didn't, because it just shows that, like, they want Dak just to throw as many touchdowns as possible. But I think that Pollard has a good week against Carolina this week. We saw Deonta Foreman tear up this Panthers run defense last week for, 80 and a touchdown or maybe even 2 touchdowns. I can't remember. So I think that Pollard has a very good game against Carolina this week. And I think that, being on the road is a little different than being at home with trying to showcase Dak for all those passing touchdowns. So I think Tony Pollard has a really nice week.
Yeah, I hope so. Like I said, it's been kind of odd. I think I talked about that last week where it's like maybe he's great and he can do a lot, but maybe he's not the bell cat. Like he needs a little more like 60-40-ish, 50-50 kind of split to keep him effective. But like I said, I think this week they should have their way with the Panthers. They fucking stink. So moving on to receiver, I like AJ Brown. I just like that game a lot. I want to get what I can in that, and he's just fucking awesome. Kind of unstoppable. I know the Chiefs defense is very, very good. But I think they will have trouble with AJ Brown. Everybody has trouble with AJ Brown. So, and I'll be honest, I think you could probably start Devonta Smith too. I think, kind of like Abe said with Mahomes, like that game, whether the defenses are good, the Eagles defense is kind of suspect. They're very good up front, good against the run, but their secondary is banged up. So I think you can probably play about anybody in that game. You would anyways with those quarterbacks, but I like AJ Brown to have probably 150 yards and a touchdown. So,
yeah, I like that a lot. To kind of go to what you said, the Chiefs defense has been really good statistically, but the Chiefs offense has not. And a lot of people don't, I don't know if a lot of people don't think about this or don't put this into consideration, but like if you're not scoring the ball a ton and you're not moving the ball up and down the field a ton, your defense looks better. The stats show it's better. If you're scoring at a rate where you're going up and down the field in 6-8 plays and you're getting and you're scoring 35, 40 points, that's more time that your defense is going to be out there for other teams to kind of let loose also. So I think those stats are kind of a little bit skewed. Do I think the Chiefs have a good defense this year? Yes. Is it one of their better ones they've had with Mahomes? I think so. But if this was an offense that was lighting up the field, I don't know if their defense would have as great as stats as what they're showing right now. So with that being said, I think they're a good defense, but I do think this game gets up and down. I think we see some fireworks on Monday night, so I like that call quite a bit. My wide receiver, speaking of fireworks, is Keenan Allen. Week after week, like you're sitting here thinking like, hey, this dude's he's gonna get hurt at some point. And then he did this week, and I'm like, oh shit, he's gone. He already had 10 catches when he went to when he went to the tent, and then they moved him, and he had to go back to the back to the locker room. Then he comes back out and catches a ball and makes a move on a guy. It's just like, holy shit. I mean, this dude's, 31 years old or 30 years old? I mean, and he is so damn good. And then now he's going to be matched up probably with like Keyshawn Nixon, I'm guessing, this weekend in the slot corner. And that's not going to work very well if you're a Packers fan. So I look for Keenan Allen to have a huge game again this week.
We won't double him either. That's not we won't do that. No chance.
And we can tackle anyone. So if he does catch the ball, he's not going to get tackled. So
yeah, we don't do that. We don't tackle. Very much we do. Their defense, they only allowed 15 points. That defense fucking stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah. My receiver for the week is CeeDee Lamb. If you don't understand the streak or the kind of I want to say streak that he's going on. What is it? 3 games in a row, 150 yards that he's done. I like him to have another game like that, and I like that for the Cowboys to kind of realize what's going on, and that's maybe one reason why Pollard ain't getting used as much and they're passing so much because of what CD and Brandon Cooks has been doing. Both of them have been really lighting it up in the receiving game. I like CeeDee Lamb to have another big, huge game, another maybe 10 plus receptions and 150-yard production day. So against the Carolina, I mean, they should really be able to light it up and kind of put the rest of maybe the 49ers and Eagles saying, hey, look, we're here. We're ready,
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be big. Davila. Hey, guys, do you trade Barkley and Adams for A.J. Brown and Antonio Gibson? I have Bijan, Montgomery, and a Shane coming back. And then he's got Jamar Chase, and CeeDee Lamb. So A.J. Brown be select. Yeah, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
We're never telling anyone to get off our podcast, but get off the podcast and hit accept as soon as possible.
Yeah, right now.
Run and hit accept as soon as possible. That is
the Gibson part's like whatever, but like I said, you have Bijan and Montgomery with the chain coming back. Like I want Saquon Barkley to get traded. I feel bad for the guy. Devontae Adams, we don't know what we're going to get week to week. There's maybe O'Connell can sling it. I mean, just get the ball close to the guy who'll catch it. But I just AJ Brown's too good right now.
Yeah, that's the reason why when I initially saw this question and everything, I was like, that's why I asked that question. I wanted to know who his receivers were, because at first, when you're really first looking at the question, I saw that Gibson aspect of it, and yeah, I would love to have AJ Brown, but as soon as he said he had Chase and Lamb, I'm like, dude, that's just it's easy. It's an easy question to hit accept on that one.
Yeah, and I don't know if Barkley. I mean, he popped up in the injury report today. I mean, even if Barkley's healthy, what's he getting? 60 yards a game? I mean, and if this is a PPR, you're going to get. I mean, the Commanders get up and down the field. They usually get down in games. Their quarterback slings it to everyone, including.
I fucking love Sam Howell. I love that guy.
Including Gibson. I mean, he was my biggest bet this past week, over 2.5 catches, and he had that by halftime. So. I mean, I don't think Gibson's too far behind Barkley, to be honest with you, in a PPR league. I mean, and that's crazy. But that's just the way fantasy football works. I mean, the volume is definitely going to be there for Gibson if it's a PPR. Barkley gets his volume, but he doesn't get very many yards because his team doesn't do much. So
because they have Barkley's running against 10 guys in the fucking box every play because they know Danny DeVito's not fucking slinging it. So
right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I call him that. That's why I always call Tommy Vito. That guy, former Fighting Illini quarterback. Yeah. And Syracuse Orange. Moving on to tight end. I got 2 of them. These are pretty like low-hanging fruit, whatever, don't care. Jake Ferguson at Carolina. I think we all said how we all part of the Dallas offense, so not much needs to be said. And then my guy Dutch Schultz against the Cardinals. I look for the Texans to light it up again with C.J. Stroud, who's just been unreal to watch.
Yeah. Trey McBride was already looking good before Kyler Murray got there and everything. And now that Kyler Murray there is at quarterback again. Look, this Trey McBride, if you have an opportunity in dynasty leagues, I'm sure he's already gone and everything, but on the same token, try to go out and get him. Look, he is going to be a focal point of this offense for the next 3-4 years and everything. The kid is young, talented, and has all the potential to turn into a Travis Kelce, a Dalton Kincaid. I mean, look, I'm really high on this kid. He's looking good. I know if there was one cast that he made where he had to bend over to grab this past week, and I mean, great kid and stuff like that. And the opportunity, Zach Ertz being hurt and everything is opening it up for him and stuff like that. But I don't see this going back to where he's not going to be one of the focal points of this offense. I like Trey McBride.
I agree. I like that a lot too. Yep. Yeah, he was one of those guys coming out of college, and it was like, hey, get it going. It just kind of slowly developed, and all of a sudden now it looks like it's clicked, and it's there, and he looks really good. So I like that call a lot also. My tight end I'm going with is on Thursday night. I like Mark Andrews against the Bengals. We saw the Bengals get lit up by tight ends the last couple weeks. Last week wasn't as bad, but
Njoku had some fucking good plays though. God, he's a fucking beast. David Njoku.
He was a freaking tank that one play, man.
That was against the Ravens. Sorry, I was thinking wrong. All right, yeah. I'm just excited to talk about that play. Talk about it.
But I like Mark Andrews a lot. I mean, obviously, I think this game. One thing to think about: Joe Burrow absolutely struggles against the Ravens for whatever reason he does. But Joe Burrow also has good stats when he's an underdog. So, we're seeing a game on Thursday night. Like Nate, you mentioned earlier, both these teams come off bad losses, disappointing losses. So I think this game is going to be fun to watch. And when things get tough and when you need a big play, why not go to someone that you're most familiar with on the team, and that's Mark Andrews, especially when Cincinnati cannot guard a tight end. So he's a tight end I really like this week.
Hell yeah. Always like him. Rich, DFS lineup, what you got for us?
DFS lineup for the week. It's interesting because I've cashed out 3 weeks in a row. Now, I'm not putting nothing big or anything on there. I'm doing these little $3 things and stuff like that, but I'm doubling up my money every week, so that's the good thing about it.
That's better than me. I got my ass kicked the last couple weeks, so.
I did too.
So I got Will Levis at 5,200.
Jeans.
Jeans been having a better week than he did last week.
Yeah.
It's a good matchup. Bounce back week this week. Devin Singletary at 5,300. I'm also going cheap with Tyson Chandler at 4,800 with Alexander being out. By doing that, I'm able to go higher on my receivers. I got Devontae Adams at 7,900, Brandon Ayuk at 7,200, Cooper Kupp at 8,100. Then I went deep into the cellar to go get Michael Mayer at 2,700 and seeing if he could cash out against the Miami Dolphins because they are going to have to throw to keep up. And then with the fact that what happened with Deshaun Watson being out, look, Kareem Hunt at 4,900, they're going to be running the ball a lot between him and Ford. So I like Kareem Hunt to probably get a TD this week, maybe even 2. And then by doing that, look, I went higher on the my defense. I'm taking 49ers at 3,900.
I like it. Yeah, hopefully Jeans can have a bounce back week, and Singletary can keep it going. He looked awesome last week. So
yeah.
I have Slam and Sammy Howe at quarterback. They're going to throw the ball a bunch. He'll probably get sacked at least 4 times, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. I look for him to keep it going again. Then Jerome Ford. So the other part to Rich is Kareem Hunt. I like Jerome Ford because, like I said, they're going to just run and run and run, and eventually they'll get through the Steelers front. I like Brian Robinson. Kind of stack with Sam Howell. He had a huge week last week, and he throws it to everybody. So at wide receiver, I got Keenan Allen because of what Abe said earlier. Brandon Cooks, I know he's not, the 1, maybe even the 2 sometimes, but that offense seems like they're really they found another gear. And regardless of, I think a lot of the guys have a good game. And I don't see Cooks having 173 yards and a touchdown like he did last week, but I think he's in for another solid outing. I think Dak's looked really, really good the past few weeks. So I don't see that stopping this week. My other receiver is Tank Dell. That offense has been a pleasant surprise, and I think he keeps things going. I think Nico Collins may be out too. He's limited, I think, today. So that'll help. Tight end, I got Logan Thomas, another Washington football team guy. And then my flex is Deebo Samuel. I think he kind of gets back on track again this week. And then the Texans defense, because I think the Cardinals aren't good. And the Texans defense has played well. D'Amico Ryans is a dog. He's got those guys flying all over the place. So, Abe.
Let's see. So in this, usually I try picking a quarterback and a wide receiver, my first 2 picks when I did this. And I just could not decide what quarterback I wanted. I went low last week with Jeans, and he really screwed me. So I'm like, I gotta spend more money on someone. And like my first like set of eyes went to Sammy Howell, and then I'm like, shit, if I play him, everyone's gonna have him because him and Stroud, everyone's gonna have those guys. A lot of people that play in these tournaments are a lot of recency bias. So what I want to do is kind of go against the grain a little bit. And I chose Stafford, coming off of an injury for a couple weeks, but they're not going to send him out there if he's not somewhat healthy, if he can't sling it around all game. I mean, he's, at the tail end of his career, so I don't think they're going to put him out there for death. So I picked Stafford as my quarterback against Seattle. They are playing in LA. I think that this game should have some points scored in it, so that's why I chose Stafford. I did pair him up with Puka as one of my receivers, so I'll just kind of skip to that. My running backs are Ty Chandler and Tony Pollard. I gave my reason on Tony Pollard earlier. And Ty Chandler, it was weird to see a Minnesota running back this year pop through the line with some burst. We've not seen that with Madison quite a bit this year. So it was nice to see Ty Chandler kind of pop out of there. I know he didn't have a huge game. He did have I think he had a run called back. He ran for like 30 or 35, got called back on a hold. But I like Ty Chandler a lot this week. Him and Pollard. We've seen Denver's run defense get sliced up a little bit. So my wide receivers I mentioned is Puka, Deebo Samuel. I think he has a great game, and Rashee Rice has an unbelievable matchup this week. Against Philadelphia's secondary. My tight end is Mark Andrews. My flex spot is Austin Eckler, as Nate alluded to earlier. I think that he has a huge game against Green Bay. And my defense is the 49ers as well as what Rich had. So looking forward to that. I accidentally cashed out my DFS winnings last week, so I had not put any money in yet. So I need to save this lineup and see if I can compete with this lineup this week. So I wrote it down, but I haven't put it in yet.
Hell yeah. Rich, you see that question in the comments? There, you pulling it up right now. Got a trade offer. Mark Andrews, Joe Mixon, James Cook for Travis Kelce, Josh Jacobs, his 12-teamer, full PPR, Stroud, Pollard, Mixon, Cook, Herbert, Hunt, Spears, and then Diggs, Ayuk, Hollywood Brown, Josh Downs, Jaden Reed, Mark Andrews, and McBride at tight end. Damn, that's pretty loaded. I'm trading those guys in a heartbeat. The Bengals can't run. James Cook, I don't know how much he's going to see the field if he can't hold on to the goddamn football. I love Mark Andrews, but you're getting to stud and Josh Jacobs, and obviously it's Travis Kelce. So I'm doing that in a heartbeat.
Rich, I think you're muted.
Yep, sorry about that, guys. So the whole point of this is, look, he kind of made a good point. A couple questions below is, look, you're getting towards the end of the fantasy football season, and you're freaking to build your team for playoffs and stuff like that. You want to have that. You want to have that. That stud started lineup for the starting lineup and stuff like that. So the fact that, look, you're getting Kelce, great. I mean, number one tight end, and then Jacobs is going to start even having a better second half to the caliber of what he did last season and everything with the way they're running and stuff like that. The beautiful thing about Jacobs is they're letting him pick his plays that he wants to run before the game, and they work it in through the game and stuff like that. So he likes the plays that are given to him. So he's the last 2 weeks he's been in the top 10 as far as running backs with what he's been doing. So I like this trade for you. I think it's a slam dunk for you to really help your team going in the playoffs, Mr. Finks.
I think
that right.
If you're wanting to trade Trey McBride, and whether it's Hollywood Brown or Jaden Reed, maybe package somebody together to get like an RB2 that can help you out more so than – like I said, I like Khalil Herbert. I like Kareem Hunt and Tajay Spears. You may have a hard time – I guess, Hunt's probably the guy I'm playing week in, week out until I have a more steady Eddie. But, I'm fine going with Josh Jacobs and Kareem Hunt every week. in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I mean, I would take this also. I mean, I think your biggest loss you're losing from this is a little depth at running back with Mixon and Cook. I don't know what I don't think the Buffalo Bills believe in James Cook. And the way he's dribbling the football down the field and catching it is pretty embarrassing also. I think that will hold tight with a lot of people and say, no, we don't like seeing that. Joe Mixon, for whatever reason, Nate said, they just don't run the ball well.
Their offensive line is like us three and two other random dudes off the street. Like, they fucking stink.
Yeah, it's not good. So I think your biggest loss you're losing is a little bit of depth at running back, and then obviously Mark Andrews, but you're getting Kelsey back. So
yeah,
I think this is a good move. I personally, when I have really strong fantasy teams around Thanksgiving is the week where the last week of trade deadline is when I tried to really kind of shore up my team. And, I try having depth all year, and then I try trading depth for studs, but usually the bye weeks are done. We don't see that in the NFL anymore. So kind of keep that in mind. But you have a lot of depth still regardless after this trade. So, Jacobs, Pollard, Herbert's coming back, Hunt. Spears is one play away from being a fantasy champion. He's, if what's his name gets hurt, then Spears can win a lot of people some fantasy championships. He's that good of a running back. So you got a lot of depth at wide receiver. You can flex McBride and have Kelsey there too. So you got a lot of good pieces here. So I would take that trade as well.
All right, we got one more. Let's go ahead and knock this one out real quick. Is George Play 01. Hey guys, non-PPR, I'm 9-1. My team is Tua, CMC, Pollard, Cup, Waddle, Njoku, and Flex Olave. Bench Fields, Purdy, Warren, Keaton. Okay, it's kind of going through. You guys can read it. Today, I traded Kenneth Walker for Pollard. Was it good?
I like it.
Yeah,
I do too. Like I said, Kenneth Walker weeks 1 through 5 was really, really good. He has been on the smaller side of the snap share the last couple of weeks with the Seahawks. We're seeing a lot of Zach Charbonnet. And so I think that Walker is kind of the first and second down guy there, and Charbonnet's kind of been the third down guy, but Charbonnet's also been seeing some snaps, every other possession as well. So I like Kenneth Walker a lot. He's a home run hitter. But Pollard you're buying super low with him. And, I know that Dallas's schedule gets a little bit tougher, which I think they're going to have to rely on the run a little bit more. So
the Seahawks schedule gets really fucking tough after they play the Rams this week. So,
yeah.
And yes, I would. His next question says, should he drop Fournette and Brock Purdy for Rico Dowdle and Zach Charbonnet? I would. Why not?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows what Fournette's going to get to do. And you got Justin Fields and Tua, so you're probably not playing Brock Purdy anyways.
Yep. Yeah, I would too. Charbonnet is someone that, once again, if Ken Walker goes down and you have Zach Charbonnet
runs so fucking hard too. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, that's another guy that if he's the lone guy in the backfield, kind of like Tajay Spears, those two guys they're young. They got a lot of life in their legs. These guys can put up some fantasy points, and they have a lot of burst to them. So
Dylan, George, both you guys, if you come hit us up on Twitter /X, shoot us an email. Come join our Gilded chat. Yep. We have over 250 people. Look, this is what we discuss all day long with everybody in there. This constant talk about this. We got multiple channels where we discuss trades, lineups, and everything. So hit us up afterwards, and so we get you guys invited into our Gilded chat. You won't regret it.
Speaking of that, before I forget, patreon.com/toiletstitles. Bunch of different tiers, tons of stuff going on, giveaways all the time. That little injury flip book those guys came up with.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was texting Abe about that, and he goes, and he like missed it. I sent it to him, and he's like, "That's so fucking like that. That's one of the best things I've ever seen for $1.50 a month. That is worth its weight.
100%.
It's so easy. Like and it's from the Gilded chat. You click on it, it opens it up, and it has every game. The questionables, the doubtfuls, every single thing is in there for each matchup. It's fucking awesome.
It is very smooth. It's easy to read. It's easy to follow. It's easy to flip through.
Yeah.
It is really, really, really impressive. So
you're not chasing down, 16 different beat writers on Twitter to try to figure out what you want. Yeah, so patreon.com/toilets to titles. Check it out. It's worth it. Or just hitting us up, getting the Gilded chat, and we can kind of get you steered in the right direction.
Yeah,
so,
right here down the bottom, look,
$20
titles@gmail.com. Hit us up and stuff like that, and we'll get you guys going in the right direction.
Yes. So.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that up to you today because when you sent that to me last week, I'm like, oh, this is fucking sweet. Like I was showing it to people here we were watching football with, and they're like, where'd you get this? I'm like, it's at Toilets Titles, man. This is awesome. So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, shout out to those guys. I think Will and I'm going to forget the other two guys who are helping.
EB Cooper and Pete 83.
Yeah, it's sharp.
Awesome.
Good work, fellas. That's awesome.
Yeah. I like the Ravens -3.5 at home against the Bengals. We've been talking about it all night. How Lamar is against the Bengals, how Burrow is against the Ravens. So I like that a lot. Plus, I like the total under 46. Primetime unders have hit at a rate of 25-7 this season. So that's pretty good for the under. Granted, I like the over on Monday night with the Eagles and the Chiefs. I don't remember what the total is right now, but definitely like that. And the unders were 3-0 last week for primetime games. So I like that to keep on going. Rich?
I'm starting out with the big one, Raiders plus 13.5 with Miami and everything. I think they keep it. Like I said, I think there's going to be some scoring going on both teams, but I think Raiders defense, as far as the passing aspect, kind of keep them in check and keep it with that under that 14.
I'm taking the Chargers -3 in Green Bay. I just have zero faith with Green Bay, their coaching staff, their defense.
The Chargers -13.
And the Chargers, I don't have any faith in their coaches either, but they have a lot more talent on the defensive side. And they have a lot more talent on the offensive side.
This is a matchup of some fucking heavyweight coaching greats.
Yeah,
we got this weekend. Just some fucking stellar coaching
guys. Yes, exactly.
Just some fucking top notch.
How could we outcoach our dumbass guy across the field?
Yeah, this is a fucking hell of a game. Analytics fucking driven game. It's gonna be exciting. Fuck Jesus. I'm getting on the CJ Stroud train. Texans -4.5 against the Cardinals. I don't know why Kyler's playing. CJ Stroud looks awesome. People are comparing, Jordan Love's, it's not his first year, and CJ Stroud looks fine his first year. Well, I love what the Texans do. If you watch them, they run like the same plays. They don't have a big playbook. They just run them out of different formations with different guys. So it's the same for CJ. It helps him, become a better quarterback. They look awesome. Keep it simple. You don't need all these stupid little fucking trick plays, Matt LaFuck. Stop doing that dumb shit. We can't do it. We can't run regular plays. We shouldn't be running trick plays.
Right.
So, yeah, I like Texans.
I like it.
I like Texans a lot. So I almost wore my Arian Foster jersey tonight, Abe. I forgot about it. I was a little late. So, Rich?
Now, I am taking the Steelers at +1. I think they win outright against the Browns and everything. Steelers defense is really going to cause my Cleveland's offense to kind of stutter and skip a beat, if you want to say. So I like Steelers defense covering this at +1.
Yep.
One bet I like Pollard to score. He hasn't scored since week 1. I wouldn't doubt if he scored twice this week. I keep telling my buddies, I'm like, hey, go ahead and put Pollard on the board this week. He's going to score. He's going to score. He has not. I mean, if Deonta Foreman can score against the Panthers, I definitely think Tony Pollard can. I think it helps her on the road. So I'm betting Pollard to score. I'm betting him actually to score twice.
Hell yeah, I like that. My last one, I like the Jets +7 at the Bills. I think the Bills are a fucking dumpster fire right now. They fired Ken Dorsey for no reason. It's not his fault that they fucking turned the ball over 5 times.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and I know Josh Allen has I think he's leading the league in turnovers since he's got into the league now. So Justin Fields should thank him for that, taking all the heat off of him, all the fumbles. But when Josh Allen tries to do too much, they struggle. And that's what he has to do now because that team their defense is bad. Not that the Jets are good, but the Bills have also not covered 6 games in a row. And that's the most since 1973 or 75 for that franchise. So generally they cover. Yeah, they haven't. And I don't see that changing. I think the Bills probably win this weekend, but I feel like it's a game like a 14-12 or something like that. I don't see them scoring much this weekend. So give me the Jets.
I'm taking the Giants +9 over the Commanders.
Oh boy.
Danny DeVito is.
Oh boy.
6-0.
Hey, I'm going all plus this week, man. Look, I know Barkley popped up on the injury report and everything, but look, Commanders have been trading away with their defensive players, so they're going to get scored on and everything. The Giants' defense ain't that bad and everything, so I like Giants keeping this game close and stuff like that. This might be a low scoring game because of being a divisional game and everything. So why not? Let's go +9.
I think it was 14-10 when Tyrod Taylor started earlier this season. Was the final score of that game. So,
well, maybe Giants will outright win with Danny DeVito.
I hope so.
I mean, they did put up 17 last week against the Cowboys. So
They did.
And by the way, I had DeVito's under of 11.5 completions at one point in time. He had 6 with like 5 minutes to go in the game, and then he came out, and then they switched the game. They turned it off and put it, a game that was absolutely worth watching. And I look, I'm like, oh, this is an easy win. There's no way he's got 6. He can't get 6 in 4 minutes. Sure enough, he ended up with fucking 13. I'm like, God. Like, I knew that he was going to get, their defensive Cowboys were going to get pulled and all that stuff. But I'm like, I thought they would just run the clock out, but no. Instead, he's out there slinging around like he's some all-star.
Like he's Danny Dimes.
Yes. Yeah. Right. My last bet I like is Chiefs Eagles over 45.5. Like Nate said, the primetime games, the under's been hitting like crazy. I think that's a perfect spot to showcase the Chiefs offense gets on track a little bit. The Eagles offense is always good, so I think they score points. The Eagles secondary is banged up, as I talked about earlier. So I think we're going to have some points scored in this game. I don't think it's going to get crushed. I don't think it's going to get blown out of the water, but I do think that we finally get a game that's above 45.5 on a primetime game. So those are my 3.
Hell yeah. I like him. I see there's some stuff in the chat. We kind of need to get out of here. And we can try real quick. Either that, or if you guys want to, like I said, go to our Twitter, get in our Gilded chat. All these questions will be answered within like 15 minutes.
We can answer these real quick.
Okay. Like I said, we just got to get – I'm trying to keep it under an hour. So,
yeah.
12-man PBR, 8th place, Borderline Elimination, Trevor Lawrence, Mixon, Jones, Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, Darren Waller, Nico Collins, blah, 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 blah. Trade away Gus and Zay Flowers for Puka and Jake Ferguson. I think that's a good trade. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Is it a single quarterback? I'm not trading Tank Dell for Trevor Lawrence or Tank Dell for Justin Fields. I'll roll with Trevor Lawrence. I think he's more consistent. I guess if you want higher upside, it'd be Justin Fields, but I don't know what you're going to get when he comes back.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do that either. I mean, we keep waiting for Trevor Lawrence to go off, and he doesn't do it.
He struggles at home. He's been good on the road, bad at home. Yeah. So maybe do trade Tank Dell, and you have Justin Fields, and you can kind of play those like that. Trevor Lawrence has been bad at home all season.
Yeah, if you want to take some chances, your 8th borderline elimination, if you want to take some chances, go and do it. I don't know if that's a chance I would take or not, though.
Bears defense been playing better, so maybe they'll kind of try to right the ship a little bit. So,
all right, Recon, hang after the show. I'm gonna post in the comments on my decision on what you should be doing. But we got to get this closed out, so I'm gonna give you my Beat the Bandito lineup for the week. CJ Stroud, I got at QB. Tony Pollard at running back. DK Metcalf at receiver. Trey McBride at tight end, and I am flexing Deebo Samuel. That is my Beat the Bandito lineup this week for all the patron contestants out there that are in this contest with me. Hey, your boy had a bounce back week last week with Dak Prescott. He scored me 96 points last week. So I'm coming for it.
CJ Stroud's going to have a good week.
I need a huge week from him.
Hey, there's one other one in there. Chandler, trade Amon-Ra, St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, and Jamar Gibbs for CMC and Diggs. I'm not doing that. I want CMC really bad, but I don't want Stephon Diggs. That offense is a mess. Seems like Diggs is so up and down. I'd rather – Amon-Ra is like a sure fucking thing right now. And Gibbs is going to get his with Montgomery back. And same with DeAndre Swift.
And Swift. So Amon-Ra is better than Diggs at this point. So
yeah.
So I would and Swift and Gibbs is not as good as CMC, but you have depth there. So I want Amon-Ra all day.
Yep.
This dude is awesome.
Oh yeah. So thanks for all tuning in, everybody. We appreciate the hell out of y'all. Check out our Gilded chat. Like I said, hit us up on Twitter, wherever, at Toads Titles. You can see all of our names here. Thank you for all tuning in. We'll be back next week, same time. Make sure you tune in Sunday mornings to Title Time. Rich will be there giving all the start sit 2 hours prior to game time. Get in the Gilded chat. Check out our Patreon. Get the little injury flip book. You want it. Like Abe said, it's worth $20 a fucking month, and it only costs you $1.50.
Yes.
So check us out. Hit us up. And yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Thanks.